So just briefly, just hopping on here, just to share, at least a few benefits that I know of personally from, a woman saving herself into a marriage. So, and this is not for me to, brag about saving, about a woman saving herself for marriage and everything. The reason why I made I'm sorry, y'all. The reason why I made that disclaimer is because you'll have some people on here just because of the fact that I'm talking about this topic. You'll have some people on here, they'll try to turn something positive into something negative. So I just had to put that quick disclaimer out there. So, but the reason why I would like to share at least a few benefits that I know of personally, when a woman saves herself into a marriage, is because it's so much of misleading information that's being pushed out here for, not just young women that's old enough to be my little sisters, but also for women that's old enough to be my sister, who's the same age as me, old enough to be my cousins, old enough to be my aunties, old enough to be my mamas. You know what I'm saying? That are, unfortunately, they are, you know, this is the most respectful way, most professional way I could put it. They are losing their self respect, and they're showing lack of, you know, patience and self love, by still quickly giving up their bodies to men who do not value them, who do not respect them, who do not care for them, who don't even care for themselves, don't even value themselves, don't even respect themselves. Those are the wrong type of men to trust them with your body. Now, me personally, I think taking the more spiritual approach is what's best because it's actually practical and it's reasonable to wait until marriage. But I do understand that some people on here, they, are not religious or they're not. I just understand that most people, they are living their lives by choice. That's the most professional way I could put it. But I still would like to at least hop on here to put something positive and something that's actually practical. Notice that I said positive and practical, which means something that actually makes sense and it works. And I know because I'm living it myself. I will not speak on something that I'm not living. But anyway, so just to get into it, one of the benefits of a woman saving herself until marriage is she gets to have a peace of mind. A peace of mind knowing that she does not have to go to the clinic to, constantly check on her status to see if, her health was compromised. And the reason why I mentioned that on the physical aspect, because it does matter, is because that'll determine whether you will have a peace of mind. Because it can be stressful if, you as a woman who is just looking for love, you know, decides to trust a man with your body, a man that you don't really know, and a man also that is not your husband. So when when a woman puts herself in a situation like that where she trusting a man that she barely knows because she's just looking for love and she just you know trying to seek his approval and whatnot, when she makes when she trusts a man like that who's not her husband with her body early on, it's too risky. It's just way too risky. And the reason why I say that is because she doesn't know who he is. All she knows is what he's showing her in that moment. And majority of the time, what a man is showing um, a woman in the present moment, in the beginning, that's just his persona. That's not who he really is. He's just trying to impress her. Just being honest. And it hurts me to still see some women still falling for that. And then they end up trusting a body with a man that they barely even know and that's not committed to them. So, yeah, that's just one of the benefits that I wanted to mention. Peace of mind. Peace of mind knowing that your health is not being compromised. So you get to sleep peacefully at night, knowing that your health is not being put on the line every time you share your body with a man you barely even know. Even if it's a man that you've known for 3 months, you still don't know him. So, and again, if it's not a man that you are in a serious committed relationship with, preferably marriage, then he is not to be trusted with your body. He's not. I'm sorry, he's not to be trusted. And reason why I say that is because when a woman waits, no matter how much that man is begging for it or he's hinting at it, when she waits, she get to see, okay, where his mind at most of the time. She get to see his true colors come out too once he break. If that's all he wanted, which that's what most men out here who, you know, don't really have no guidance, no real guidance, and they lack good character. That's what most men out here want anyways. That's what they're after. So, but yeah, so she get to see that early on who he really is and what it is that he really wanted. So, but yeah, that's just one of the benefits. Your knowing that your health is not on the line and you don't have to constantly go to the clinic to, get tested because you're not doing anything. You get to sleep peacefully at night. Also, another benefit, you get to hold on to your self-respect. The reason why I say that is because, believe it or not, there is value in how you choose to move with your body. So when a woman moves in a responsible way with her body, it shows that she respects herself. So even if a man is not serious about it, I guarantee you, secretly, he'll respect her. At least he'll respect her for it. He might not keep talking to her if that's all he wanted and just move on to the next female that may easily give it up to her, but I can honestly say, secretly, he'll respect her. And also, it's good to know that you actually care about yourself because it's more to it than just physically becoming attached to a man as a woman. You're also affected mentally, emotionally, and on a spiritual level. And that's something that's not often talked about. That's why with this whole women empowerment and, this feminist movement, which I'm not into politics, okay? Not into that. I don't do politics. But I'm simply just mentioning that because of the fact that it's a lot of misleading information out here that is doing a whole lot of damage, to a lot of women that are just vulnerable and they're honestly just they're looking for answers. They're looking for validation for their pain. That's what they're looking for. Validation for their pain. And they just want to feel safe and secure. And it's a whole lot of messages out there that's speaking to their pain. But it's not really pushing a lot of women in a more positive direction, in a more positive and practical direction. That's the issue. So, also another benefit of a woman saving herself until marriage. She is able to weed out the bad apples from the good apples. You know, not saying that it's easy, but I can definitely say that she able to spot, you know, the men that is actually willing to take her serious and have self-respect. Therefore, he'll respect her from the ones that don't. Because if a woman listens to a man good enough while she's having a conversation with him, he's actually, in most cases, they're going to tell on themselves. Notice that I said most. I know that you have some, they hide who they really are really, really good, but it's not all of them. And even with the ones that hide who they really are, or they live in a double life, that's, you know what? That's more of a reason for women to also save themselves until marriage. Just to speak on some of the men that hide who they are and they live in a double life. Is that proves that a woman, I'm sorry y'all, sorry, forgive me. That proves that a woman saving herself until marriage is actually practical. Because if she waits long enough, then she'll be able to really focus on, a lot of red flags, even about a guy that may seem nice, may seem responsible, and she'll be able to pick up on the fact that he live on double standards, or most likely he living a double life. Because, you know, he said this, but then he said this, not realizing that he just contradicted himself just now. I'm just saying. Just saying. So, yeah. But other than that, of course, there's more benefits to a woman saving, herself until marriage. But it's more to it that can definitely be broken down into like segments, different videos and stuff like that. It's not something that can be covered, in one video, honestly, because it's levels and layers to it. But I just named a few. So, but bottom line is this: a woman, regardless of how old she is, a woman that's saving herself until marriage is for her protection. Okay, it's not to restrict her; it's for her protection. And also, just like I said earlier, a woman saving herself until marriage, it actually will help her to move in a positive and practical direction. Notice that I said positive and practical direction. And I say positive because the longer a woman, waits and takes her time to wait until marriage, to share her body with a man that agrees to commit to her and only her through marriage, the more likely she will increase her chance of actually running into that kind of man who actually wants the same thing that she wants. Also, I say practical because waiting, a woman saving herself until marriage is practical. Why? Because then, especially nowadays, it's practical. Why? Because I'm not going to even say she decreased her chance of compromising her health. And it's not just physical, it's mentally and emotionally as well. But just to speak on the physical, since, the physical aspect is talked about the most, she will not decrease her chance of compromising her health. She actually completely gets rid of the chance of compromising her health. Why? Because she's not doing anything. She's not doing anything physical with a man at all. So she is fully protected. It's full protection right there. 100% protection right there. The best kind of protection she can have, honestly, on the physical level, since she's not doing anything. So, yeah. But with that being said, maybe I'll hop back on here at a later time and discuss some more benefits of a woman setting herself until marriage. But that'll be for another day at a later time. But yeah, I just thought to share all of this that was just sitting on my mind while I was watching the video, actually, by Tony. A love and relationship coach named Tony Gaskins. By the way, shout out to you, because I respect him. Why? Because he's doing honest work. It's not too many men out here in the world, that's willing to do the type of work that he's doing and not cutting no corners. He's actually giving us 100% honesty, on how men operate and everything. And it's not to bash them. It's more like he's educating us on how men think, because most of us women, we didn't get that growing up. We didn't get that. Growing up, being educated on how men think and how they operate, and so it just kind of make us feel kind of jaded when we made some poor decisions in our past, based off of being young and inexperienced. So, but that's all I have for today. So, y'all have a good night.